It's called Smut. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut if it's uncut and unsut.
I have to tell you what I've been thinking about for most of the day.
Okay.
What are the sexiest cities?
The sexiest cities.
Yes.
As in, like, okay.
Okay, here are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Chicago's not a sexy city. It's a cute, meet cute city.
So LA. Sexiest city.
Dirty.
As a resident, or sexiest
No.
city as in it provides the most opportunities for romance? Because I feel like it's two different things.
I'm going off of like books I've read and what I think would be, I'd have a sexy time in that city.
I mean, I feel like New York City is
No.
always the classic.
I said no to that one. I think it's a
You
solitary.
can't just say no to that one.
Well, in my list.
Oh, okay.
I feel well. I don't really have a list. Is the thing,
That's exactly-
but like
we're making it.
The first ones that come to mind are like Vegas.
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't. It's a little
There's
hot.
a lot of sex in Vegas.
That's true.
It doesn't mean
That's
it's sexy. It just means there's sex there.
Does it have to be U.S. based?
Yes.
Okay.
Because in my head, the first two I thought of were New Orleans. It's sexy. There's a lot of
You
like.
don't think New York City is sexy, but you think New Orleans is sexy?
In Boston.
There's an entire
Boston?
Those are my two. Yeah, that's
There's an
What the
entire
fuck?
street in New Orleans where all people do is just party and like get sick.
But that's where like a lot of guys in leather
no,
fight vampires.
I need to understand your Boston.
Yeah, You're right. You're right. I was focusing on the wrong
that's
thing.
Like, that's like dark history sexy.
All I can see is Ben Affleck.
I was thinking more like you meet a guy and he has a Boston accent and he grew up there and he knows everyone and he has a bar.
See, that is a meet cute to me.
That's a
New
meet cute.
York.
No, because that's like I'm gonna go home with this
But
guy.
Boston isn't sexy.
No,
I think
it's really.
sexy.
Boston
I think
as
that's
a
just
city.
I think
sexy for you.
I think cobblestones are sexy.
So yeah, you're just really showing your hand here. I think New York is way sexier than Boston.
I think you're wrong.
I'm really struggling. I don't think I find any cities that sexy.
I think by comparison, though,
Yeah,
like
by
New York is
comparison.
sexier than Boston.
I think
and
I also
Nebraska as a
thought
whole.
I thought maybe like something I would feel sexy in. I don't think I feel very I feel metropolitan in New York. I don't feel very sexy.
I don't
Oh,
feel
well, that's
sexy.
different.
'cause
I don't
in
feel sexy anywhere.
In cities, the air is usually hitting me in a way that makes me upset.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I feel like in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Is my sexy
I also
environment.
thought somewhere like New England would be sexy, like academia sexy.
Again, I think the idea of you feeling sexy in these cities
Yeah.
makes total sense.
Because I
It's
can't.
always about me, Sean.
I can't see that either because I've been listening to last podcast and the last
Salem Witch
series
Trials.
about Salem Witch Trials, and they just are constantly talking about how creepy New England is, and so I cannot give
Someone's
it the sexy
creepy.
label at all.
Someone's creepy is another person sexy. But
Two raccoons.
welcome to Femmes Greenville. Two raccoons talking about best trash in town.
The best trash in
you
town.
should say that again because you mumbled it, Emily.
Jessica, you say it.
Femmes reading filth. Two raccoons talking about the best trash in town. I think the in town is a new ad for
No.
this episode.
No,
Is it just?
I
I
said
thought
it
was
last
just
time.
talking about the best trash.
No, it's best trash in town.
Well, damn.
And,
Okay.
And town in this instance is the world of books. But I'm Emily.
I'm Jess.
I'm Sean, the guest.
We're getting better at that.
Yeah,
We're getting there. I mean, we're on officially episode 2, but really this is episode 4.
Recording
Recording
episode 2.
number 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this week's topic is what I lovingly referred to last week, but I may have cut it out, is Persades, Persephone and Hades.
Amazing. Before you jump into the topic, can I do a quick correction from last week?
Absolutely.
Did I
Because
do something?
no, you didn't do anything wrong. But the book that I'm reading is not The Devil in the Sea. It's called The Devil and the Dark Water.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
said that too. Yeah.
and I completely thought you were right. And then I went home and looked at the cover.
It's
like, oh,
it's
no.
because I speak with such confidence.
You do. I was like, that's the title. So I figured out if in case anyone wants to read it, you will find nothing if you Google that other title.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, and
Continue.
I was curious because obviously, Sean, this is all about you.
Oh, God.
And you picked Hades and Persephone. What do you know of Hades and Persephone?
So I've seen the musical Hades Town.
Yep.
They're in it.
Yep.
I know that Hades is the king of hell, the prince of the leader of hell,
The god of the underworld.
God of
Yes,
hell.
go on.
I'm gonna bite my tongue this whole
and
time.
again, this is just,
You
this
get
is-
to talk later.
is-
This
I
is
know.
about Sean.
These are the very basics that I know. Like, he is hell guy, and he married Persephone, who is the embodiment of like spring.
Okay.
Is that right?
I'm not.
Yeah, loosely.
I'm not allowed to say
okay,
anything
okay.
yet.
That's fine. But that's kind of all I know.
Okay.
That it's like dark and light is how I've always pictured it, but I could be totally wrong.
And why did you pick it as the topic for this episode? It's specifically the way it relates to stories.
Yeah. I love retellings, actually. Like, I think they're really cool. Like 10 things I hate.
too.
Yes. Like 10 Things I Hate About You is a retelling of that Taming of the Shrew. It's so cool, and I also like it. And oftentimes the retellings I prefer to the originals, which I think is a really fun, cool, artistic
Yeah.
venue.
I think it helps you
Avenue.
understand the source material
Yes,
in a lot of
absolutely.
ways for people of this
Generation.
modern day age.
Absolutely. And I think I think the way it just pulls on types of stories is really cool. And I don't really know much about Hades and Persephone. So.
Great. And Emily is chomping at the bit.
I am.
yeah.
I am
Because
actually sitting quite patiently.
She
did
did,
pretty
in
good.
fact, study in school how the classics are currently received. So everything you just said, she spent thousands of dollars on in order to learn in an academic
So
way.
I could say it with a degree backing me up, and not just a thought. No,
She's holding the degree right now.
stroking it lovingly. No, I agree with everything you said. I love retellings, and they give me such joy. And I love that people can understand things that were made back in the day in a way that befits our minds, even if it's not the way that it was intended. But I digress. Persephone and Hades, buckle in. You're pretty much right. It's he is the god of the underworld. His domain is the underworld. He is part of the big three: Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. Poseidon got the water. He's called like Earth Shaker, so you got that area, and Zeus got the skies.
and is this Greek?
This is Greek.
Okay.
I always actually get those confused.
The Romans, they adapted. The Romans were the first fan fiction writers. Let's be honest.
Fair.
They adapted their gods.
They adapted. Hades is the Greek word. Pluto is Roman. I prefer Greek stuff. And the Greek, I like the originals. I don't mind the Roman stuff. Nothing against Romans. I am not starting a battle. Just to like have that out there, I'm gonna call him Hades.
Fine.
Great.
Persephone, goddess of spring, daughter of Demeter, goddess of the harvest.
Okay. Got it.
Hates Hades.
Oh.
Just for a fun fact.
It's an enemies to lovers.
It's an enemy. Well, that would be ish. So I even wrote it
hates him.
down.
That's
a
no.
generational.
Demeter hates him.
Oh.
Her mom.
Okay.
Yes.
So
From the other side
Persephone
of the
is
tracks.
traditionally Persephone is traditionally the daughter of Demeter and Zeus. Although that part doesn't come out till later. Usually, everyone's like, "Who is her dad?" And then Zeus is like, "I guess it was me."
Zeus doesn't usually know who he fucked
I mean,
and
he-
when.
wasn't this whole thing
has-
is that he would just come to Earth as a man and like bang people?
Sometimes an animal. There's a
As an animal?
Lita and the Swan, baby. Look it up.
Oh, that was a Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I feel like
episode.
it was not just a Zeus thing though. Like a lot of the
No, a lot of
gods
them
Oh
did.
yeah, but
just
he,
did
I,
that.
They are
I
randy.
specifically remember him. That was his whole deal.
They are a randy bunch.
Well, Zeus isn't Zeus a kind of leader? So he,
He's set by example.
from the top down. The horniness comes from the top down.
She's known as Kore, Kore. That means maiden.
Okay.
And it was intended for her to be a virginal goddess. She was supposed to follow the footsteps of like Hestia, Artemis, like very virginal, never touched.
Okay.
She will usually be known as Kore, or like in a lot of retellings, Cora is usually something that
interesting.
she's called. And later on, when she is back on Earth, she's usually known as Kore. When she's downstairs, she's known as Persephone. Just so you know.
Got it. That I had.
The original story is Hades abducted Persephone.
Yuck.
She's playing in a field. She's like la 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 with nymphs. She grew up like in the mountains, kind of, with all these nymphs watching her. And Demeter was like busy doing goddess things, but coming back, and she was very overprotective of her daughter. The nymphs kind of lost sight of her one day. She was like strolling around. Apollo had his eyes on her, and I believe Hermes did too, but Hades was like, I'm going to get there first. A chariot bursts forth from the sea, from the rocks. Pretty much.
Poseidon.
He grabs her, and then before the nymphs can even be like, what's happening, they disappear.
Holy shit.
Demeter is walking around the earth being like, where the hell is my kid? No one else knows. She actually gets Hecate involved, which when I'm reading it, I call her Hecate in my head, but it's pronounced Hecate.
I always thought it was Hecate
Who
as
is
well.
who is the goddess of witchcraft and ghosts, and like a few other things.
I love her.
That is you. That is you. She enlists her help. They both go wandering the world, and while she's doing this, she is despairing, so she is sending the world into like a winter. Because she's the goddess of the harvest. She's pissed she can't find her kid. Therefore, she's like, everyone's going to suffer until I find her kid. So Zeus is like, let me ask Hades. He goes down there. He's like, what? Why is Persephone here? And Hades is like, she's my wife. And
Yuck.
Zeus is like, I don't think so, buddy. Send her back. This ain't cool. He's like, yeah, totally. I'll send her back tomorrow. And before he goes, he tells Hermes, he's like, Hermes, come grab her tomorrow, because Hermes is the messenger god. He can go between realms. Hades goes up to Persephone and was like, can we just share one last meal? I know it's been a little rough. I'm sorry. Here's some pomegranate seeds. You hungry? She's like, fine. She eats 6 seeds. And the next day, Hermes comes to grab her, and Hades is like, just so you know, she ate some food here, so she is bound to this place now. Since she ate 6 seeds, she has to be here for 6 months out of the year.
Oh my God.
And you can tell Demeter, which really begs the question of where did the line of don't shoot the messenger come from, but
Correct.
Totally there. And so that's why every 6 months we have spring and
cold.
summer,
Got
and then
it.
6 months it's fall and winter, because Demeter gets all sad because Persephone goes back down. But there's a lot of different variations of this. Basically, like later on, Persephone grows to love Hades, and she is like queen of the underworld. Like she really loves her role there. There's a lot of mentions of her and other things with her wrath and being like the consort queen of the undead of the underworld. Her first mention of this whole like story is Hesiod's Theogony, which I was very embarrassed. I only have his works in days. So I actually had to look in Stephen Fry's Mythos. If anyone is interested in reading any myths or any stories like that, Stephen Fry just basically wrote them all down in his very dry British humor way, and it's very good. People to mention, Minth is a nymph who had a
nymph?
Minth the nymph.
That's awful.
Minth the nymph had a quick ONS, a one night stand with Hades. Persephone got mad, turned her into a mint plant, and killed her. Just to know. That's just an important part to know.
Oh my God.
I believe I mentioned all like the main characters that will somehow grace themselves in various retellings. So does that make sense to you? Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just have 2 thoughts. One is the kidnapping thing gives me big Phantom of the Opera vibes, and I don't like it. Yuck. Like that is so yucky. Like don't like that. And then the second is that girl was like, hell yeah, seeds. He couldn't have given her like something better than seeds.
Well, pomegranate, like the little bits that you actually do eat in the
I know.
pomegranate.
I'm just saying.
Have you ever had a pomegranate?
I have, but I'm just saying.
I love pomegranate.
It's probably because I'm hungry, but the idea of someone being like, share a meal with me. Here's 6 seeds.
You also have to remember that they are gods. They live on ambrosia and nectar. So they don't need food.
I'm just saying.
It's like we have food, but we don't eat it. But
I'm
it's
just
nice.
saying. Think about that sentence.
I just happen to have these seeds.
I'm your
It's also-
abductor.
That's why a pomegranate is also very big in visual context for the underworld.
Oh, I didn't know
It is
that.
also a symbol of fertility, which
That I knew.
Persephone is a fertility goddess because she is spring. She brings forth,
Sure
she
does.
creates new life every
I think
whatever.
I'm just mad. Like if he'd offered her something better than seeds, I might be like, girl, I get it.
I just remember there is one more thing I should mention that sometimes this guy pops up too. Persephone is a demigod. His dad is Zeus. Got mad, tried to kidnap Persephone while she was queen of the underworld.
People, leave her alone.
It does not go well for him.
No.
So those are the main characters. This is not like at the time that she's getting married to Hades. It just happens later on in the myth. He is also somebody that will come in retellings.
Well, and I feel like the retellings or the fanfic borrowing from this story, most of the ones I've read at least are not leaning heavily on the
Abduction.
she got kidnapped thing.
I figured.
I would say, but Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them it's it's Persephone going to Hades
Yes.
or being ensnared by Hades in some other way.
Yes.
That's not him literally
kidnapping her
literally
from a
busting
field.
out of the
Goes-
ground and taking her.
I will say there is a lot of forced proximity, forced relationship, marriage of convenience. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there is forces that push them together that is not, she doesn't want it. That's
Right.
a lot of retellings that happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Other ones are that she seeks him out. Usually Hades is Persephone is also supposed to be a younger goddess, and Hades is older.
Right. She's very in need in some way.
Yeah.
She's very light. She can, do the plant thing.
And he's dark and twisty and angry.
And he's dark and angry.
Yeah, I think, again, I just didn't know it was a literal kidnapping. I assumed it was more like what he does with people, where it's like, I have an offer for you. Come on down.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of the ones that I've read as well, which the fanfic I'm going to get into goes to, is that they do a lot of speculation about, okay, so why was Hades, this dark and twisty environmental person, so fascinated by Persephone? And a lot of retellings, like Hades Town, it'll be like, he saw a beautiful lady
Yes.
with her flowers in her mother's green fields, and it fascinates him because it's something that he doesn't have.
Yes.
And so a lot of them, I think, play that up as well, that she's
Also-
bright and shiny in a way
Yes.
that he wants
Opposites
to protect.
attract.
Oh, and I love that. I love the idea of him being attracted to something light when he is the embodiment of darkness.
That's actually, you said the beginning of, there's a trope that comes up in a lot of, when you read things, sunshine grumpy
Yes.
is the trope. That's what it's called.
I love that.
And it can
grumpy.
be, the gender doesn't matter, but
figured,
one
yeah.
is, it's sunshine grumpy.
Yep. Sunshine grumpy, or in the case of mine, running away from overprotective mother,
Gotcha.
overprotective situation,
Yeah.
to
Freedom.
to an unknown, to a scary unknown, but maybe not so scary.
Oh.
Question mark. So to get into the fanfic, I must admit that I really struggled to pick anything for this. I really, I do very much appreciate it. I feel like I have read a lot of Hades and Persephone stuff, and I think that might be why I had such a hard time, because everything that I looked at, I was like, oh, it's too on the nose.
We had very high standards for ourselves. We went
Yes.
back and forth texting a lot, being like, I kind of want this, I kind of want that. Like, you'll hear about my struggles afterwards, but we held ourselves to a very high standard with this
Well, I
episode.
appreciate that.
And I didn't want to pick something because there's, like you already said, Sean, there's a lot of Phantom of the Opera parallels. There's a lot of like Hannibal that I talked about last time. There's a lot of fandoms that closely mirror this dynamic. And I didn't want to pick any of them.
I get it.
So a little bit of background. There are 2,131 works under the tag Inspired by the Myth of Hades and Persephone on AO3. A lot of them are modern AUs or reimaginations of the myth, but there are 3,012 fics pairing Hades and Persephone explicitly.
Wow.
So there are actually more fics on AO3 with Hades and Persephone as a pairing, but that's also helped along by Lore Olympus and other pieces of media that specifically use them. Like, it's not like there's a lot of Emilies out there writing fan fiction about Greek myths.
Which there should be. I encourage anyone named Emily. Also, I love Lore Olympus so much.
I know, I really need to read it.
So much.
But I just thought that was interesting because there were 10,000 more knife play fics or whatever it was last
That's true.
time.
Oh my gosh.
So the most popular tags that go along with Hades and Persephone are AU, fluff, and slow burn. Do you need a translation for any of those?
Fluff is the main one. Is that like
Fluff is
Light?
like,
Oh, I remember.
yeah, like fluffy. Like,
Okay.
it's just comforting. It's sweet. It's,
Okay.
if you need a warm hug in the form of a fic, that's what this is.
Because AU alternate universe and
was the
last-
last?
Slow burn.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know a slow burn.
Yeah. And so the fic that I picked, I think, has all three of those elements. So I wanted to make sure you understood. And I went with the inspired by tag rather than the Hades/Persephone tag. Star Wars is the most popular fandom.
Really?
Yes. And the most popular pairing is Tony Stark and Bucky Barnes.
Oh my
From
God.
the MCU.
What?
Yes.
Wait,
But
what?
which
I'm assuming Bucky would be Hades.
I don't know.
Because he's angry. Well,
so is
but
Tony.
he's lost.
so
He's lost
Yeah.
and alone.
And
then
Tony
there's
could
this,
show him the world.
There's this rich man with
I
a
am-
drinking problem.
power.
I am shook by this statement.
And honestly, Bucky would get power, but yeah.
Yeah, and so the most popular Hades and
Shook.
Persephone fic is Tony Stark and Bucky Barnes, and it's called The Guiding of Death. And
oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah, but I didn't pick anything along those lines.
Okay.
So mine is called But the One Who Blooms in the Bitter Snow.
Ooh.
And the author is HihoPlastic, HIHO Plastic. Sean, any guess? Just give me your best guess as to a fandom.
Okay, can you repeat the title?
But the One Who Blooms in the Bitter Snow.
Mulan.
Ted Lasso.
What a beautiful name.
It's a beautiful
It's
title.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So I will tell you a little bit about the fic, and then Sean, we need to know what you know of Ted Lasso.
Oh,
But
so much.
first, so it is a Hades and Persephone AU. It is there's only one chapter out so far of a multi-chapter fic. So no sexy times yet, but it may happen. It's currently rated teen and up, but that doesn't mean there won't be sexy times. And I clicked purely because I had spent 5 hours scrolling through this tag, and I saw the pairing and was like, I just need to know what this is. And I was fascinated.
Okay.
So, Sean, what do you know about Ted Lasso?
Probably everything.
Okay. Tell the listeners, there's 3 main characters so
Yes.
far. We have Ted, we have Rebecca, and we have Rupert.
Oh, interesting.
Can we
Okay.
get a summary?
Absolutely. So Ted Lasso is the main character. He's the title character.
Yep.
He's come over in the first season. Is it first season Ted Lasso, does it seem?
I think
has he just
more,
arrived?
we don't even need a synopsis. We just need a vibe.
Oh, absolutely. So Ted and Rebecca, like, they definitely have a tension. I'm on the camp of I don't want them to get together yet.
I agree. I actually, not yet. I don't want them to get together.
I would be fine if they never did, but I can understand if that's the goal.
I want that to be a friendship.
I just need them to justify the attraction. It's not there yet. I'd be fine if they never did. But Rebecca's the boss and Ted works for her. And Rupert is Rebecca's ex-husband who's a dick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what would you say, beginning of the show, the vibe is between Ted and Rebecca, like first season
Oh,
vibes?
well, it's hard because like Ted is like just looking up to her and like a little puppy. Like he just wants to impress her and she hates him. Or she wants to hate him. She doesn't, but she wants to.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and Rupert is, I think, the only other key thing for this to understand it, if you've never seen Ted Lasso, which you should, listener, you should hear
Absolutely.
it, is that Rupert, it's implied throughout the course of the seasons that Rupert is not only a dick, but caused some real emotional
Yes.
damage to Rebecca.
Absolutely.
And in a way that she is still very much recovering from. And that Ted is, as a friend, as a connection that she grows, and a bunch of the other characters as well, but mainly Ted, is a big catalyst in her just starting to kind of recover.
Absolutely.
Wait, sorry. Did you actually say that Rupert is her
Ex-husband.
Okay. I don't know if we actually stated it or
We
not.
did, we did.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
I'm so nervous with this pairing.
I was so excited when you texted me this because you're like, it's this. And I'll go, what?
yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be a Roy Kent pairing.
That's what I thought. I would have been like, that's Roy and Keeley easily.
Yeah,
That
right.
is-
No,
this-
Roy and like, what's his face? Oh my God, Jamie.
Jamie. Yes.
Oh.
There are some Roy and Jamie
I'm
fics
sure
that are
there
delightful. But actually, so this is the only, surprise, the only Hades and Persephone Ted Lasso fic, at least on AO3.
Okay.
And the summary, I'm going to read it because this is what hooked me. Rupert had always warned her of his brothers. Their temperaments, he said, far worse than his. She was lucky, he said, that he'd found her first, such a pretty thing. But he doesn't know anything. He doesn't look anything like Rupert's retellings. His eyes aren't black like snakes. They're warm and brown. His hair falls on his face sweetly, and he's wearing white shoes with red laces. The god of the underworld in trainers. Or the Hades and Persephone AU that no one asked for.
That no one asked
So it's
for.
Rupert's brother?
So in this,
Interesting.
Rupert is the Zeus
Okay.
character.
Okay.
And so
I could see that.
And so Zeus and Hades and Poseidon are brothers. So in this, it is Rupert and Ted are brothers.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing that broke my heart is this fic is based on, apparently some brilliant person made fan art that was Ted and Rebecca as like Hades and Persephone.
Oh.
And this author credits them and was like, this was completely inspired by this person's work. I love you both. Fuck you so much for doing this to me. And then I went to click on the link and the Tumblr isn't there anymore.
No, I was gonna say
I would
need
love to see
it.
that.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep probably refreshing and hoping that it comes back because I really want to see it.
Seriously.
And I really wanted to credit them, but yeah. So that's the origins of this.
Oh my God.
So
Oh boy.
setting the scene. It opens with Rebecca running through the forest. She's running through the forest. She's being chased by Rupert.
Oh, okay.
And it's her inner monologue, and
Yeah.
she's thinking about how this has happened a couple times before.
Okay.
Where she's felt trapped by Rupert and her mother, and she just needs to escape, but he always chases her, he always catches her. And she's running. She stops abruptly because she gets to the edge of a cliff. Mm-hmm. Rupert's like, so in the show, Rupert is always saying these very like, the words sound nice,
Nasty.
but it's a nasty little,
for sure.
And so he calls her darling a lot in this fic. He says, "Time to come home, darling. You've backed yourself into a corner again." Which is very Rupert.
We can hear it in Rupert's voice.
And so she's still like, maybe I'll just, and she has a thought, and she's like, maybe I just fall off this cliff. Like, maybe this is what I need to do. And she steps 1 foot over the edge of the cliff, and someone grabs her and catches her before she can fall.
Like Titanic.
And she freaks out because she thinks it's Rupert.
Yeah.
And then she realizes it's not him. Because she hears someone say, "You're okay. Just breathe. It's okay. Just breathe."
My God, it's already so cute.
And so the way it goes is the stranger puts his body between her and Rupert. And Rupert is trying to convince her to come to him, and she refuses. And then the Rupert says, "Oh, you have to let her come back with me." And the stranger laughs in his face. And she realizes that she has crossed out of Rupert's territory and into his brother's.
Oh, I love it. I love
The
it.
one tasked with overseeing death in the underworld. And that's where
Amazing.
the summary that I just read comes into play, is that it's her realizing like, it's one of his brothers.
This is his brother. Yeah.
And he hears her gasp of fear, flinches, and whispers, so only she can hear, "I won't hurt you, I promise." And so basically he tells like Rupert, this is another, I think, common thing that I've read with Hades and Persephone things of, there's a rule, which I don't know if it's true to the myth, that, well, it is, because you mentioned it with Hermes, that
going into other people's realms.
yeah, like this is his realm. Rupert can't touch her
In the
as
realm.
long as she is here.
Okay.
And so Rupert gives up and goes away, not before saying some like bitchy thing about how she doesn't understand what she's gotten herself into. And she feels, all of a sudden she's alone with this person she doesn't know. And she feels very unsteady and is kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop because, it's something along the lines of like, the shoe always drops. She's thinking about like, people are awful.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been hurt. And she says like, "What do you want? You helped me. You must want something from me. You can't just do this for a reason. Like, there has to be a reason." And he says that he wants nothing from her, just to help her. And she pushes back on him, and she's like, "I don't believe that. Like, that's not.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Yeah, she's like, that's not how it happens." And he goes, "You're the one that can make flowers grow." And she's like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "Everyone knows that." And he's like, "I would like a flower." Aww. And she goes, "That's not all. That can't be everything you want." He's like, "No, I just want a flower."
I really want to read this now.
And she's thinking, Rupert always hated her flowers and said that it was a superfluous gift. It was a waste of a god's talent. And she thinks about that, and she goes, "Well, I guess if he just wants a flower." And so she makes him a lily in her hand. And she looks up and just sees him with this expression of just wonder and fascination and happiness and joy. And it says, her chest aches and she feels she will cry, like the knot in her gut might just slacken and she has some semblance of control. And he says, it's going to rain soon. You should come inside. And she decides that he is the safer place to land and says, okay.
Oh my God.
So
Is that the end
That's
of
the
the
end of the
chapter?
chapter?
That's the end of the first chapter.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Yes, right?
Wow.
I mean, here's the thing. I just love Ted Lasso so much that I'm just so charmed.
I know. And but it also, what I liked about it is I feel like it does what the best AUs do, where it is fundamentally true to
The characters.
From Ted Lasso, like their relationship. I'm sorry, my foot is so numb; it is completely fallen asleep.
Oh God.
Hold on. I can't even.
Here.
feel it.
Thanks for 1 second. Let us know if you need to.
You're fine. So yeah, so it does what I think the best AUs do, where it's true, first of all, to the fundamental pieces of these characters. Ted, as the god of the underworld, is
So
would never.
weird. Is so weird.
but he's because there's that scene, spoilers for Ted Lasso, there's that scene with Rupert with the dark game,
Yes.
and that kind of thing. Like there are moments
all I
in the
was thinking
show
about.
where he is protective and he's willing to.
And it's very sexy.
Oh, it's so sexy.
He's willing to like step up and stand up for her, but never in a mean way. Just always in a this is my territory. This is where I'm good. This is what I know how to do. And Rebecca is broken and scared in a lot of ways. I'm sorry.
I think what I'm
Pins and needles.
Oh God. Careful with the wine behind you.
Sorry. It's like the feeling is coming back.
I
It
understand.
hurts. Oh my God.
You're fine. We can take all the time you need.
Do you want to take a break?
No.
Okay.
Give me like 2 minutes.
Okay. No, it's fine. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I had to pee. You were saying that the first thing is the AU with the characters, but
Yes.
there was something else.
I'm going to repeat that.
Yeah,
So,
go
yes. So I really liked that it's true to the relationship between the characters in Ted Lasso because Ted does have a kind of protective, he has a righteousness to him.
absolutely.
Of this is where I'm good at my job and these are my people and I'm going to protect them. And Rebecca is fundamentally very sad and
Yes.
very
Yes.
broken and needs someone to help her. And Rupert is fundamentally a dick bag.
Dick bag.
So,
Bag of dicks.
yes.
Fundamentally,
a dick
Yes.
bag.
Yes.
Yes. And so I really appreciated that this author was able to capture that, but in a fully different environment and like way of being. And I liked that we give. I prefer the Hades and Persephone retellings or reworkings or whatever you want to call them that gives our Persephone her choice to go or
Yes.
not go.
Absolutely.
But still allows for like the fear and the uncertainty and the I don't know what's going on. But it's ultimately her choice to go over there. And
Yeah.
that is helpful to me.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all I want. What do you think, Sean?
I
What do you
mean
think of that one.
I love Ted Lasso. I'm so charmed by it. I think what's interesting is that hearing the original Hades and Persephone, it's very again like dark and light, like spring versus literal hell. So it's interesting to me that Ted Lasso, the character,
is the
the
predominantly
Lord of the Underworld. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he is the embodiment of light.
But he's not though.
But he wants to be.
in comparison
He
to
wants to be.
others.
Oh, yeah.
in what they present to the outer world, I would say yes.
And I think
Right.
also in terms of what he wants to give to the world, that character is light. Even if in himself he wrestles with all kinds of stuff, he wants to bring light to the world. And that to me just doesn't feel like Hades.
Right.
Whereas Rebecca, at least especially in the first season, is very dark.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's almost like that got swapped. I'm not upset by it. I just think it's an interesting choice as opposed to, again, like a Roy Kent.
Right.
Who in his core is actually a softie, but puts out this air of like, like
yes.
What's that thing on TikTok where they're like, looks like a cinnamon roll could actually kill you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like they could kill you, actually a cinnamon roll.
actually a cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Counterpoint. And this is, I think, this is my speculation about where the story is going to go.
Okay.
Based on Hades and Persephone
Yeah,
fan
yeah,
fiction
for
that
sure.
I've read. But a lot of the characterizations of Hades that I've read, he's in charge of the underworld and he's in charge of death, but he sees it as a service and
Gotcha.
as duty and as
Not as a pleasure.
not as a pleasure necessarily. It's just what he is. It's what he is.
Okay,
It's what he's
okay.
good at. But then when Persephone comes around and is like the embodiment of what he wishes could be,
Okay.
that's where it falls. And that's where I think that was my entryway to, because I feel like Ted in Ted Lasso does have a sadness and a
a
regret
deep sadness,
and
yeah.
a guilt to him almost. And for me that tracks with Hades 100%.
That makes sense.
At least in the way that I have read Hades.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
In retellings. And then with Persephone, very much the very strong but also very lost and very underappreciated
Yeah,
and
for sure.
overlooked for her powers and her abilities, and
Rebecca
Hades
sure was.
being one of the only ones that goes, no, I think what you're doing is really cool and I'm fascinated by you.
Okay.
So that was but I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it just surprised me.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think my consistent reading of this trope made me go, oh, okay, yeah. So we're doing this version of that. I got
No,
it.
that totally tracks.
It tracks, but it also, it's very interesting because I'm also just imagining her in these like pantsuits. And
They're both just in their
He's in track.
costumes running around this forest.
I'm more
that's why-
sold.
yes.
I'm more sold on the idea of him as Hades than her as Persephone, only
too.
because I can see him, and I'm easily picturing the SNL,
The SNL skit, yes.
where if
The
you haven't
teacher?
seen it, it's when Jason Sudeikis hosted SNL the most recent time. He is a teacher at a teacher parent conference, and him and the mother of a student have like this crazy sexual tension.
It's incredible.
It's very fun to watch.
What was the line? It was like, if I'm angry, you'll know.
Yeah,
or
it was-
something.
and that's where I'm like, that would
That's
be
Hades.
it. It's a he's gonna kill them with kindness kind of thing, but in a danger, like he's gonna smile, but it's a dangerous smile.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm picturing
Yes.
him as Hades,
Yeah.
and I really enjoy that because I've read that trope or that like interpretation of him in retellings. Rebecca as Persephone, however, is interesting because I also read a lot. I think the majority of tropes about Persephone is that she's strong, but she's also like an innocent, naive person. And to me, that does not read
Rebecca is not
at all
that,
because that is like the opposite of what she
Yeah.
presents.
Yeah, I agree
she's
with
a
that.
strong, will fuck you up businesswoman.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see how they what
Very
they do with
curious,
that.
especially because I don't like that pairing
Pairing,
romantically,
yeah.
but I would love to read this.
Me too. Me too.
I subscribed to it. And so I'm really hoping that it's not the kind of thing where the author just needed to get it out of their system and then they don't update again. I'm
Yeah.
really hoping.
Fingers crossed.
So if more chapters come up, I'll keep y'all up. We can do like a
follow-up?
a little Ted Lasso, Hades and Persephone corner,
Yes.
just to like keep y'all
Amazing.
updated.
But yeah,
yes.
it sounds so good.
Yeah. I thought and again, it's a new of the many that I've read. It was the only one that when I was doing research for this episode got me. 'Cause I was
Very
like,
fun.
I have never seen anything like this before. So yeah, that's mine.
I do
Emily?
think we should put out a call for Roy Kent Keeley, Hades, Persades,
Or just
retellings.
Roy Kent, anyone.
I think yes. I want someone. If
Roy
you-
Kent
if
and
anyone,
himself.
anyone listens to this podcast, period, and anyone who writes fan fiction listens to it, they should 100% do a Roy Kent as Hades, and anyone,
Anyone.
If they want to put me as the
Ted.
Persephone, that is fine. Hashtag Roy Kent and Emily.
Oh,
for the
yeah, if it
win.
was a first-person perspective one where you were Persephone and it was him.
Oh yeah.
But like
yeah.
again, if they want to use me personally,
Okay.
as Persephone,
Call her.
Call her.
Get some
call
get
me
inspiration.
up. Call me up. Tag me on the Instas.
Flowing curly brown hair.
Thank you. Thank you. It is
Her
flowing.
brown eyes flashed mysteriously.
Yeah.
No, you lost me. I have blue eyes, but thank you. That's fine.
Oh,
you
you
do?
Eyes?
Yeah.
What?
Are you sure?
They're blue
show me
and
your
then
eyes.
they turn green depending on what I'm
Oh
wearing.
my God, she does.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong with
That's
you?
crazy. Have they always been blue?
The fuck is wrong with you?
Has that always been the case?
It has always been the case.
I don't believe you.
That is, go back and look at any photo.
I don't trust it.
Hey.
It really depends on what I wear though. 'cause
I
if
know we're
wear light
friends.
green-
I know we're friends, but I don't regularly zoom into your
No,
Instagram
me
photos
either.
to be like, what color are her eyes?
literally, you're both breaking my heart right now. You know, I need this.
I know.
Your hair is just an overpowering
The
color.
hair is
that
overpowering.
But I
It's
feel
an
like...
overpowering brown.
Yeah, it is in a beautiful way. In a great way.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your story?
Yeah.
I do.
let's
So,
do it.
Sean, I have an issue.
Oh, no.
I read about 5 books.
Oh, my God.
Because I held myself to high standards.
Wow.
The initial pick would have been A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Have you read that one?
No.
It is maybe one of the most popular, if not the most popular retelling as of the last couple of years.
And I believe it's how you and I started,
It was probably one of the first.
because I remember sending it to you and going, have you read this? I just read this. And you were like,
I was like, no. Yeah, because I had read, and I said something, I believe we might have edited it, but last week I said to Sean, I have read probably about 85%
Yeah.
of Persades retellings. I will amend that because I did not say, it wasn't Kindle Unlimited. I've read the kind you buy or the kind
Fair.
you get from the library.
I think that still counts.
A lot of young adult ones, I could go all day referencing them or recommending them, and I will right now. No, Katie Roberts' Neon Gods it's not a Kindle Unlimited, but it's worth reading. Touch of Darkness is really good. I wanted to pick that, and then I thought I would challenge myself. I love the young adult Abandon Awaken series by Meg Cabot, which is a Persades retelling. It's very fun. So there's a lot, but I decided to read something new. I decided, and Lore. We already recommended Lore Olympus, but it is on Webtoon by Rachel Smythe, I believe her last name is. It's incredible. If I ever got a colored tattoo, I would want something from that. Just for the record, I only have black and white tattoos. Anyways. But I made a list. I made a little Post-it note, which is gone now. But, yeah, there was 5 books on there. I was like, cool, here are the 5 I read. And I tried 4 of them, and I was like, I'm not crazy about them. One of them turned out to be a trilogy called The Hades Trials by Eliza Raine. It is the Dark Gods of Olympus series. And the other one I picked, mainly picked, was A Beautiful Liar by Bina Khan, and that's a dark academia / kind of mafia one.
Ooh, cool.
So I think I can talk about both succinctly. I kind of am leaning towards the Hades Trials, but I wanted to know what you wanted to hear about.
I want to hear what you want to talk about.
Okay.
So Hades Trials it is.
So the first one, I was originally just going to read the first one. I ended up reading all 3.
You read all 3? Oh my God. I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, again, I am a very fast reader.
Yes, you are.
The first one was 191 pages.
Oh, okay.
The
Not bad.
second one was 262 pages, and the third one was 256. So altogether, that's a normal for me in a week. I could read.
Nope, that would have
pretty
taken
long
me
book.
2 months.
Again, when I read the Zodiac Academy series, I was done to the world for a week and a half. But the first one was published May 11th, 2020, and they what's great about Kindle Unlimited, if you don't know this, is that if there's a series, a lot of them are going to come out very close together.
Okay.
There are some that are along the more traditional publishing way, where it'll be maybe a year. But the Knife Play series, the Knight's Ridge series I mentioned in Knife Play, and this, they will come out within a few months of each other.
Okay.
Which is really great for people who want to just binge something.
For sure.
That is amazing. Persephone is a 26-year-old landscape design student / barista in New York City.
Obviously.
Okay. And their names are Persephone and Hades.
Her
in
name
this
is
book.
Persephone.
Okay.
Persephone. Yeah.
Persephone's.
She's a human. It starts out just literally she is at her job making coffee, and this guy flirts with her. He has purplish gray eyes. So immediately in my head, I go, "Oh, that must be Zeus."
Okay.
Because for some reason, purple is a color of regal royalty.
Yeah.
He is the king of the gods.
Yep.
And gray, silver, that's usually storms, usually lightning, thunder. So I associate him with that. He's described as blonde. So in my head, I'm like, that must be Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of creepy to her. She's like, oh, which was another thing of that must be Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
And he follows her out of work, and he starts making the sky go crazy. Everyone on the streets of New York disappears. It's raining cats and dogs.
Oh, my.
And she turns around, and she's suddenly in a field, and there's a cave, and she's like, well, shit. So she starts running towards the cave, keeps going down. She's a human. She has no idea what's going on. She's
has no
freaking out.
powers.
She's crying. She has no powers. She gets all the way down to this cave, and she meets this beautiful woman. the beautiful woman goes, "Oh my God, it's you." And she's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh shit, you don't know anything. Okay, I'm Hecate." And I was like, "Ooh, yay!" You're Persephone and you're in a trial. And she's like, "Huh?" She goes, "Yeah, you're about to compete to win the hand of Hades. No big deal." Persephone's like, "I'm sorry, say that again. I must be hallucinating. I feel like I got hit by a cab. What's going on?" So you find out that Persephone was Persephone, the goddess of spring, queen of the underworld, did something terrible, had to drink from the river Lethe. Again, I pronounce things as I read them. Please don't come at me for mispronunciations. I call it
think
Lethe.
it's pronounced Leith, but I have no.
It could be
I think it's
Lethe.
life.
I'm going to call it Lady L.
So wait, so say that again. So she's already been Persephone.
She's already Persephone. So so the river.
Okay.
There are 5 rivers of the underworld.
Sure.
That one erases memories.
Interesting.
For people who've had a traumatic experience, a very bad death, a very bad life, they have the option, if they were like good enough and they just had a shit deal, to drink from the river, to forget their life and just enjoy their afterlife.
And is that part
okay.
of the myth
That
as well?
That is part of like lore.
Okay.
Persephone never drank from the river.
Got it.
So
but
that is
that is a known thing if you know
that is
Greek
a known thing in Greek
gods.
mythology.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So it turns out they were married for 4 years. Something happened. We don't know. But it was bad enough that they stripped her memories and made her into a human.
And did she willingly do that, or did they do it to her?
So we don't know for a while. And then it
Okay.
turns out she wanted it.
Okay.
She was like, "Yeah, I did something terrible. I never want to know. I don't ever tell me what happened, blah, 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 blah." And Hecate is like, "Oh God, I can't believe Zeus found you. Oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this." Because it turns out Zeus is making Hades do these trials because Hades did something. He basically created a realm, which is not part of mythology at all.
No, I figured.
But he created life, and that's not allowed.
Okay.
The god of the dead created life.
Okay. Okay.
And no one should have that power except for fertility kinds of gods and goddesses.
Okay.
So in order to punish him, he's like, "You know what? You've been single for too long. We're gonna make a whole thing for Olympus to see. People are gonna compete to be your wife.
We're gonna have a bachelorette.
We're gonna have a bachelorette, yes, but they're very dangerous trials. So she has no choice in it." And she is brought in front of all of Olympus. That's when Hades, who's just a big ball of mist because he doesn't want people to see what he looks like, comes and he's like, "What the actual fuck?" He gets really angry.
Yeah.
Persephone's like, "Oh fuck, I was married to this guy. I can't even see him. He's smoke. Like, what the hell did I ever do?" So she then competes in the first trial. Oh, and we find out that the 4 things that have to be done to be the wife of Hades is they have to show glory, intelligence, loyalty, and hospitality. They have to prove that they have all these things to be able to be the queen of the underworld. The first trial is to kill a demon, classic. The second trial is to host a masquerade while also trying to find information, like subterfuge.
For sure. To host a party.
There's like 9 trials in all, but then like
Jesus
4 of
Christ.
them happen at the same time. Like
Gotcha.
at one point she has to find a gem in Poseidon's realm, and
That's fun.
then she has to get away from Cerberus, which is the dog. It's the hellhound that guards the gates of the underworld.
Three-headed dog,
The
right?
Three-headed dog, yes.
Okay. I was gonna say this has a lot of Harry Potter vibes because this feels
Yes.
very Goblet of Fire.
So J.K. Rowling was a classicist. So a lot of things
That makes sense.
she took as inspiration.
Classicist, as in someone who studied the classics.
Not classist.
Not
yeah,
I
correct.
know. I was like,
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me if she was also classist.
Yeah, she's a butthead.
She is a butthead.
Stay low.
Head.
Oh, so in the first, I read the first book and I was like, there's only one sexy moment and it's not sex. So I had the same moment as Jessica being like, should I even do this? And then I was like, well, I've read enough Kindle Unlimiteds to know that sex is about to happen in one of these books. But there's a sexy moment in the first one where they go behind a column. At the masquerade, she needs a minute. Hades comes to her. He takes off his
wait.
smoke.
I was gonna ask, is he still smoke?
He takes off his smoke and he shrouds them in a bubble of smoke so no one else can see them. And he's gorgeous. And this is a big thing in retellings. A lot of times, it's the tall, dark, handsome motif. And it's mysterious. He's quiet. He's usually wearing. It's always black. It could be a black suit, or if he dresses down, it's usually black jeans and a black T-shirt.
Yep.
black hair, usually blue eyes of some sort, like electric
Like
blue
you.
or silver.
You have blue
Thank you, Sean. This one, he has silver eyes, and he's just devastatingly handsome.
Okay.
So he basically feels her up behind the column. It's great.
Okay.
In the
His
second,
ex-wife?
his ex-wife, who he still loves. He's just
Yeah.
mad.
Okay.
But he still loves her. To go faster, basically in the second book, more trials happen. Oh, bad things also happen. So she's like, maybe I shouldn't be here. And he's like, for your safety, that's true. So he sends her back to Earth. The third book starts. She calls her earthly brother because she was reborn as a human.
Okay.
And she's like, we got to do this. And her brother Sam is like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is crazy. Hecate comes. She's like, you're coming back with me. Bring Sam. There's totally going to be a moment between them, but she is also a virginal goddess. So things to overcome. She competes in the last trial. They definitely have a lot of sex then.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
a ton of sex. They can never keep, in a lot of retellings, they can never keep their hands off each other
That
as
makes
well.
sense. Yep.
And I enjoyed, and basically at the end, I mean, do you want me to, fuck it, we're going to spoil it.
I mean, you've basically told the whole story.
It's, well, yeah, it's a retelling of,
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
I'm
She's gonna,
probably going to read this anyway.
you
Me
should.
too.
It's
It
actually,
sounds really fun.
it's so fun. It's a very fun, quick read for all three of them. Minth is the other contestant, hence why I wanted to say her.
Gotcha.
And I won't say who the true villain is, but there are some twists and turns. But I do, there are things that I like that she was, not that she kind of had a choice to do these trials, but she chose to go in the cave
Yeah.
and to go further, and then she chose to actually want to stay and compete.
for
So
sure.
it was, I like that idea of choice, but she was technically kidnapped by Zeus at the same time, so
Yeah.
it still follows that motif. It's a kind of a slow burn, much like the original myth, where at first she's like, well, you kidnapped me, like the fuck, and then over time she's gonna end up loving him.
For sure.
I like that Hecate is still a character in this, even though it was a surprise to me because I would say Persades. I love
It's
that.
a good ship
It's
name.
a good ship name.
Yeah.
Persades is in my top 3 favorite myths. Maybe my second one, the first being Cupid and Psyche. No big deal. Maybe we can do that one day. I don't know. But Hecate is in a lot of retellings, and I didn't realize she was originally in the original myth on Demeter's side.
Oh, okay.
I did know that they were like friends, and she is Hecate is a very revered goddess because she was actually a Titan, first of all, which is a whole other thing to get into, the Titan alchemy. Like,
Very, very powerful.
very powerful. I like that she's usually a mentor to Persephone and just like a friend. And in a lot of...
I feel like she embodies the kind of the
ants.
sassy best friend /
Yes.
aunt role in
Yes.
a lot of
The cool
retellings. Yeah.
Hermes and Dionysus are usually friends of Persephone's as well. They're on the younger scale of the Olympian gods, and they do prove to be more friendly towards her in this as well. It was really fun. So I like that there was a lot of... It's a very different... I've never read anything like this. It read a lot more young adulty to me, which I do tend to like with this because there's just a lot more adventure and action, but it followed the tropes of the myth in a fun way.
I think the one thing that struck me, and again, I think I would feel this, I feel different if I actually read it. I don't understand the point of her being his ex-wife. Like, I guess if I read it, I would obviously find out more about like why she decided to go back to Earth. It's just like,
I didn't want to
and
spoil
don't
that
spoil
part for
it.
you.
Don't
Yeah.
spoil it. But I think like on the surface, I'm like, why include that? Like, it doesn't seem like a necessary addition.
I will say, and it doesn't really, the idea of wrath within gods and goddesses is a big
That makes sense.
is a big thing. Wrath is involved. It's in a lot of retellings that have to deal with Persephone because she is presented usually as to go back. She's presented as this innocent, naive
sure.
person because she's a human and she has
Yeah,
no
she has no
recollection of any of
idea.
this. She has no idea what's going on. And I enjoy that because it puts the audience in the seat of the main character because you don't know what's
Yeah,
going
you
on.
go,
You're
I like
reading
that
a
too.
story. I lost my train of thought.
No. And I think obviously if I read it, like
Oh.
there's intrigue, I'm sure, with why she left.
But I like the idea that Persephone is always this innocent and like kind and like a Disney princess of sorts, but she has a dark side, much like Hades is the looks like he can kill you as a cinnamon roll on the inside.
Right.
She is the opposite. She's the cinnamon roll and that could actually kill you. So
sure.
it's a good flip flop.
yeah, I think just on the surface, I was like, why? But I love a trial. You know, I love trials and tribulations.
I love trials.
I love trials.
And I think that's why the Cupid psych myth is my favorite, because
Gotcha.
that is a very big trope.
Didn't Katie Robert, because her first one was Neon
That's
Gods.
the second one, Electric Idol,
Yes.
which I liked more.
I have not read Electric Idol.
You can borrow it from me if you want.
Katie Roberts is one of my favorites.
Yeah, if you can't, it's very dirty. It's very smutty.
Yes. She writes really good smut, and she does, specifically I like her because she does BDSM and that kind of thing in a very ethical
I like that.
way. She doesn't do the thing that a lot of them do, where it's just like, yeah, like her body looked like she wanted it, so we're just gonna get to the sex now.
Absolutely.
Like there are negotiations. Like
There
I
are
appreciate you.
There are definitely, if either, but well, actually, she didn't. She has some Kindle Unlimiteds, but the Neon God series is not a KU, I don't believe. If we ever talk about any of her books on this, we have to do trigger warnings.
Yes.
And
Okay.
if I had done Touch of Darkness, I definitely would have done trigger warning.
Okay.
But I highly recommend the Touch of Darkness series. She has another tandem series called
Touch of Darkness is by Scarlett St. Clair.
Correct.
Yes.
The series in tandem with it is like A Game of Fate,
Yes.
which is all from Hades' perspective.
Oh,
So
interesting.
the Touch of series is all Persephone, and Hades is at the same time just from his, and it's very
cool.
fun.
That was yours.
That was it. That was
Yay.
mine.
Sean, would you read that series?
Yeah,
you
I think so.
It's
I'd
super
read
fun.
both of these.
Yeah. I'm gonna click on the link
Yeah.
in our.
I
our
also,
thing.
as I've mentioned, like I love the young adult romance novels. Like those are the ones that I lean towards, and so yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
love a slow
if you
burn.
do want something like chill, but that's a young adult but more Persades, I would recommend the Meg Cabot. I want to say the first one is called Abandon.
Okay.
Lovely. I will advocate for Meg Cabot till the day I die. I
You've
love
definitely
her.
talked about her before.
I
I've
love
heard you
her
both talk
so
about her.
much.
Yes. Yeah. So Sean, now that you know everything there is to know
Everything.
about Hades and Persephone, do you think this is a pairing or a trope that you would seek out for future stuff?
Absolutely. Like I can guarantee I've read a pairing and haven't even realized
Right.
it. Like,
Oh, 100%.
That's the thing. This is such, I feel like, a one you can interpret in so many different ways. I've never read like specific like Hades and Persephone, like with those names. So I think I could seek that out now,
Yeah.
knowing what that is. But
Right.
I've definitely read this pairing before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it because it comes from such a classic story, like there's a lot of borrowing that probably
yeah.
people don't even realize what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
interesting to search Persephone and Hades, like, and to narrow down on Goodreads. I don't know if I ever said this, but I use Goodreads a lot for like the list option, because they have just like Kindle Unlimited, spicy Kindle Unlimited.
I think you did on the first episode, you mentioned it.
So I use that a lot to try and narrow down my picks, as well as Amazon, and to see just the amount of like, there's just books called Persephone with the amount of that with a pomegranate on the front. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Pomegranate.
There's so many pomegranates.
So
Give her the
They're
pomegranate.
so juicy.
I love.
She got the seeds. She didn't get the pomegranate.
Well,
That's what you
What do
eat
you
in the
eat?
pomegranate.
What else do you eat of the pomegranate, Sean?
know.
You eat
My
the
God, you a
seeds.
monster?
I know. I'm just.
The fuck is wrong with
the
you?
wrong thing to narrow in on, but it's just bothersome to
Well, it was ancient Greece. They didn't,
They didn't know food.
Their portion sizes were a lot smaller.
Yeah, they were smaller generally.
That's fair.
So Sean,
Yes.
now that you know all of this, what do you want us to talk about next episode?
Oh gosh, so I wrote some things down
Yay!
because I wanted to make sure that I
love notes.
I wanted. I
We
forgot. I was
love
gonna bring my
notes.
notebook, but I forgot, so it's on my phone.
It's okay.
My first thought was royalty tall, dark, handsome.
Oh, that's an easy.
I figured
that's
that'd be
easy
a
as
good
shit.
combo.
Yeah.
I have a Kindle Unlimited for that one. Actually.
If you want me to, I'll read it. If you want me to. I mean, I could read like 4 of them.
How
and
do
see.
you- How do you feel about polyamory?
I mean, you know how I feel about reverse hair. I'll try.
It's not
it.
reverse harem. It's threesome.
Oh, okay, I'm not against it. Yeah.
Okay, I will send it to you. You can take it or leave it.
So
Royalty,
tall, dark, and handsome is
Yeah.
our
prompt.
episode 3's prompt.
Yeah,
That's great. Hey, Sean,
Yeah.
what are you reading right now?
I am still reading The Devil in the Dark Sea.
That's fine.
That's
But yeah,
fine.
still recommend it. It's still great. It's really picking up now. I'm like 2/3 of the way through.
Nice.
Really recommend.
It's a
so
good one.
good.
So you'll just be reading it for the next couple more episodes. and then
Probably,
we'll-
yeah. Quite honestly,
We can just stop asking.
No,
you if you
please
want.
keep asking me, because the day that I am done and I get to tell you guys I'm done, it's gonna be a big day.
I hope we get that on
on tape.
on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
Emily.
Emily, what are you reading?
So I just finished a book yesterday, aside from the 4 I read for this, called Savage Prince by Sophie Winters. Savage Prince by Sophie Winters.
Okay.
That name sounds familiar to me.
It just came out, actually.
cool.
It was very recent. And it was a mafia forced marriage. It was recommended to me on,
Of course it was.
on something. And I was like, this looks, oh, you know what it was? It was Book Talk. And it was one of those, like a song is playing and it's the words, the text over the picture. And it's like, he likes this, but then this happens. Like, you know, and it gives you a cliffhanger on the Book Talk. And I go, that's something I would read. Yeah. And then I look it up on Goodreads, and then I look it up on Amazon, and then I get it. So
Nice.
Okay.
I would highly recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's very, very sexy. A lot of sex. A lot of sex in that one.
Surprise, surprise.
Who'da thunk?
Hey, Jess.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
What are you reading?
I am reading a book called Detransition Baby.
Ooh.
And it is by Tori Peters. And it is about I'm very early in, but it's about a trans woman and generally about their life. And then I get a call from a former girlfriend now who is detransitioned. They transitioned into being a lady, and then they detransitioned back and stopped taking estrogen.
Okay.
And they call our main character to say, hey, I didn't know that this was possible, but I got someone pregnant, and I didn't know who else to call.
Oh.
And so it's about this trans woman kind of wrestling with, like, wanting to be a mother, but biologically not being able to. And the fact that, like, one of their best friends and most formative lovers is able to have a child.
Oh, wow.
And, like, figuring out, navigating what that means for them emotionally.
Huh.
It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really interesting. One of my friends from work recommended it to me, and I was like, okay, this is not something I would normally read.
Yeah.
And I'm just enjoying, because I just don't think I've never read a story like this before.
No, it
No,
sounds
I've
completely
never heard a
different.
story like this before.
Yeah. So it's just really good.
And who's the author?
Tori Peters.
Okay.
And it came out in 2021, and it is her debut novel.
Oh, cool.
And it's gotten some really good reviews and some awards and stuff. So if
Cool.
you're looking for something like that,
Real quick, we have social media.
you do have social.
We have a TikTok.
We have a TikTok. We
We
have
have
an Instagram. There will be more socials coming, probably.
You can message us or slide into our DMs on either one of those. But yes, follow us. It's Femmes Reading Filth.
Femmes Reading Filth on both platforms. And yeah, give us a follow, shoot us a DM, and just let us know what you think of the thing.
Yeah, and we're not experts. If you have a nice correction for us, let us know.
Yeah.
If you have a fun recommendation that we didn't say, let us know. If you want to say hi, let us know.
Yeah, I feel like this is a genre that a lot of people read, like romance and fan fiction is something a lot of people read, but not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
So if you want to just shoot your thoughts out there to some friendly ears, we are happy to be those people.
If you want to see what color my eyes are, write in.
Old Blue Eyes is what we call her.
Are they green? Are they blue? Is this the new? What color is the dress? Who knows?
I don't know.
They're not brown. We know that.
I mean, Jessica's prove that she's not a true friend. If she didn't know, she doesn't look at my eyes.
Thank you for not blaming me, who also thought your eyes were brown.
You were quick to say you're sorry.
I
Jessica did
I will never apologize. I will never do it.
Oh goodness. Well, is that it?
I think that's it. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks. Just two raccoons talking about the best trash
in town.
Bye.
Everything is lewd. I could tell you things about Peter Pan and the Wizard of Oz. There's a dirty old man.